Oh,
And these ones are yours. See if
okay.
that does it.
All right.
Are you gonna have guests?
I will be having guests tonight.
Okay, I'm gonna turn them on too.
My guest tonight will be poet Chelsea Tadyaski, author of the recently released chapbook called Heel Dragger, published by Plumberries Press, which is published by another local poet, Edwin Perry. Why am I hearing wind? It's a very windy night out here on the moors, where I record each episode of Hauser, out on the windy moors. That's better. That's better. Is it good for you? It's good for me. I can only hear out of one ear. It is as hot as a ficus here. And I'm really just free associating. I don't have much prepared. I've been riding the bus all week on a week-old bus pass. If anyone who works for the public transit system is listening to this, please forgive me. I know that River West has a large listenership of people who listen to the public transit system, and I'm asking humbly, as one man who is struggling to get by, because that's what life is all about. It's all about you follow your bliss. You follow your bliss, and you follow it as if it has a tail that wags in front of you. And as you keep following it, whole days and nights are interrupted. Hey y'all, I just wanted to tell you, guys in a trailer being pulled by pickup in the midday sun, hanging onto kitchen appliances as though steering a vessel, thought I'd share. I wanted to share this desperate feeling where the locals go. They sip their on-standby feelings, feeling close to the banister and the empty mammalian kiss. What is that cargo? And where do I go? And where do you go? How are we just mammals with cargo? How are we not? Is my answer, freighted with each twitch I evince at your avatar. I make a freighted answer and go forth through college and 56 years of porn. Emerge at the incline which opens onto a lush meadow, but which is a repeat. People clinging to the sides of sundry articles. We can seize the array of Spartan gestures, grip the sides like heterophones, and I explode into the daylight. As complicated as fruit drinks loaded with preservatives. At the moment you swallow the drink, it takes hold of your chest with its cold reason. Oh God, that's terrible. Its aftertaste stern, as though steering a vessel into and out of the light at the behest of the arbitrary constraints. Don't fall down when you read this. As you steer the vessel, the coming influx of events collate into a formalized knowledge of spendthrift Speedo boys ruminating Vegas trips, and I trip too. I go all the way to wherever the appliances take me, Take a drink of dew and you swim for a while. I flat out can't resist the grime of culture, culled through mangled playback, of Greece to a former landlocked commissary. Commissary of the damned, damned ennui of the people and their soup, kitchen appliances. Something hides in the utterance I grip while beginning to see you. Yikes. There are only the words hiding along the margins of criminal neglect. Oh boy. Of absentee snuggling modifiers, which leads to us breaking the law and winning, stated without decorum. The timing is off, but the timing is rigged. I look foodstuffs right in the eye and want them. I look them right in the eyeless cavity that records my gesture. God, I want them. As you steer the vessel, I trip too. I am attempting to follow, but the lead is squiggly. Also irresistible to the other bus commuters. Me and the other bus commuters lapping up the red-hot Funyun grease on the fur of the seat. I have this obsession with red-hot Funyuns. I think they're like the ultimate snack that is emblematic of our times. I think they're kind of a terminal snack. I would like to imagine that they are the last snack, and therefore their being red hot Funyuns are a kind of apocalyptic snack, which I promise I will not call my next book for HarperCollins. Apocalyptic snack. I had considered calling it How to Polish Billy Collins's Head, to make it shine, but I decided that's kind of mean, and it kind of, you see, there are a whole lot of utterances that exist and are attached to this. It is not a contraption, it's a kind of vehicle. It's literally, it goes vroom vroom, but you only hear it in the part of your life that resides below those parts of your life where you feel yourself responding to signals and commands to consume the red-hot Funyun grease on the fur of the seat. And there is a whole production crew there filming us up and each other, us up and each other, and the sky, debris, mangled transference of feelings. Really vulgar stuff as we make love at attention, supporting the troops, licking the scarlet grease from the yellow rail to... How's that for an image? Jingoistic stick. I cradle your burden like a mantra. Production by Max Martin. Last week, my guests were Brandon Brown and Dana Ward, two great poets and great friends whom I miss dearly, even though the times I've physically hung out with them can be counted probably on one hand for each of them. Me, Brandon, and Dana We eat the tacos, the tacos, no, tacos, burning like orange captions of repeat offense. I've noticed that in my writing lately, I use a lot of ephemeralities. I operate the appliances and you grip the yellow rail, and we sail into the harbor satiated and ready to go. We stream our heart's content. I want to read a short collation from, respectively, Love Saves the Day by Tim Lawrence, My Common Heart by Anne Boyer, and A Fast Life, the collected poems of Tim Dlugos. Love Saves the Day is about American dance culture from 1970 through 1979. The beginning of disco as it came to be known in the 70s was in a place called The Loft, which was a space where a person named David Mancuso would hold parties, and they were private parties, but it was only because a lot of people who didn't feel safe elsewhere would attend these parties, and the invitations would often have a picture from our gang on it. And I'm going to pick up here. This part is addressing Mancuso's mixing style as a DJ. Like a weaver, Mancuso would gather different fibers, knitting them together to produce an intricate musical tapestry. Records were integrated according to their instrumental or verbal meaning, and as the connections unfurled, a story would evolve that always exceeded the confines of the musical format. In isolation, the vinyl tracks were limited and autonomous, but the elaborate juxtaposition of different records over a period of 6 to 8 hours would extend the narrative from a short tale to an intricate epic. Yet, just like the framework mapped out in The Psychedelic Experience, a book by Timothy Leary, I'm telling you, going off book, the musical bardos rarely surfaced as separate experiences, but instead intersected with each other. While Mancuso's extended set usually opened with a range of esoteric selections that slowly built into a fully charged section of African and Latin rhythms, driving R&B and danceable rock before ending on a calmer note, the musical host, as Mancuso preferred to think of himself, was never afraid to mix things up, throwing in an unexpected Nina Simone song here and a sound effect there. David would get very atmospheric, says Frankie Knuckles. He could have the most incredible energy going on in the room, and then all of a sudden he would create a tropical rainstorm. The room would be completely blacked out, and you would hear this crackling of thunder and rain, which became louder and louder. It was hot, and everybody would be standing there, some half naked, whistling and screaming, and then you heard this wind blowing, and after a while, a short while, you would also start to feel it because he turned these fans on. Dancers pinched themselves to check where they were standing. It was as big as life, as if you were on acid. It wasn't your imagination. This shit was real. Incidentally, there was a fan that was kind of up my area before. So there's a bit of serendipity for you. This is from a poem by Anne Boyer called Preoccupation. It's kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, not sections, but kind of bullet pointed, but not really. Anyway, here is 2. Dance music is closer to a true politics. Secret ballots and lots of talking and drone attacks are not a true politics, not like dance music. Those things are a pre or post politics. The body under dance music is the memory of the body under true politics, is the reanimated and revitalized polis. Under dance music, there is only, with the greatest resistance, any kind of not moving or not body or almost never a paucity of courage. And how rare is the lonely dance music. Also how rare the dance music individualist who can remain over time against both the crowd and animating beat. And now this is from Fast Life, the collected poems of Tim Dlugos, who was a poet who wrote, I believe, mostly in the 70s and 80s, died of AIDS in 1991. He was only, I think he was only 40 years old. And these are the last three stanzas from that poem. Music, order from the edge, fills my ears, the primal rhythm, our hearts pumped together. When we lay in the city, in the season of death, our tongues did not speak then. Breath within us. We gave and took in rhythm with the world, in rhythm, in heart, melded. In ritual, one great heart, laid down, stops again forever. Fire after water, in ritual, the rage of saints and appetite quenched. Music drifts upward from the cliff, the blinking lights, the lover's rhythm, rise under the eyes of prophets on a dry mountain, who hear the long space between deep breaths and call it spirit. So I know it's anachronistic. I don't know if that's the word Anne would use. I know it's anachronistic to be a dance music individualist, but I oftentimes feel that I am one. And I would like to read now a poem to you that I wrote on June 5th, which was the day of the recall election. And I wrote it on the bus and then in the days following. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Hey, what an unusual way to write a poem. I actually have to pull it up here because it's on Google Docs. I have all my docs in separate locations, and that breach makes me feel uneasy, as I am always sensing that there's a breach nearby, and it does make me uneasy. Not to turn this into a kind of therapy session. Though I could very easily slip into it, like how a woman character in the movies will say, "Let me slip into something more comfortable." I could say, "Let me slip into something more neurotic. Let me slip into something more. Let me slip into something riddled with anxiety." Let me slip into something hysterical. And still waiting for the document to come up. I'm thinking about taking my poems in a new direction. I'm thinking my next book is going to be all about Americana, about just stuff Americans like, just everyday Americans stuff. Applebee's, muscle cars, Velveeta, Lou Dobbs, grass, and Fuddruckers, and glossy books about serial killers. And I'm not sure what shape this is going to take. But I was thinking today. I was kind of rehearsing saying this earlier today to myself, and it's Americana. It's what is that? What is that? And yeah, I think of Applebee's and muscle cars and Applebee's and muscle cars and candy bars and you know, it's okay. I mean, it's just you have to accept Americana for what it is. You have to kind of allow yourself to be taken in by it and kind of spun around by it. And you have to accept that there can be Americana even in a drone plane or a kill list, that there can be Americana in torture, that there can be Americana in rendition, that there can be Americana in Gitmo, and that there can be Americana in prison as well as in the prison system. I heard that if your masturbatory practice is to grip your penis, it makes it very unsensitive, and it makes it harder to achieve orgasm during sex. I've read this somewhere. I'm gonna read this old version. It's a slightly older version of the day Scott Walker was recalled. Polis was empty, so we filled it. I keep licking my elbow, back in the present, which is the present emptiness of Polis. Present your teeth, advertise your prowess, and seem prowessy. Pantomime endoscopy. I fantasize putting this I voted sticker over the image of a drone plane. Every time I sit around, I find I'm shot. Paste drone plane into fierce joy. Paste the drone into a volcano. Look at it burn. Burn, drone, burn. A soft volcano, that sound decorates me. I collate for peace with civility. Collate blood like we peeps. Today is the day Scott Walker is recalled. Paste sticker with I voted insignia on shirt. Show you are proud. Let it bleed, find your lunch. Master separate coherence from the impossible and impossibly neglected. Find that it is the highest killing standard. The standards for killing are indifference to a change in leather paddle hidden in plain decorum versus uncurated percussion that draws the blush out. I didn't set out to have to eat so many animals. Quote, forms of remove. Cannibals eat my face, that's the difference. That's Louis Friedman. There is a huge spread of data. Do we want engineers of spread of data, or fishers of spread of data, or fishers of spread of men in favorited sense, or fishers of organs at a remove, sensorium and polis greater than this rich fuck telling you the other person wants your cookie, a paint blush across sorry, a plaint blush across Wisconsin, the parts of it that just feel amputated. Can't you see it? Can't we live in arrangements? Can't we be smart enough to weave forgiving arrangements? One stitch, the one stitch that can't be missed, and is. Can't we enshrine difference with flexibility? Can't we enshrine drone in amber? But formalize our need to stop up parts where polis was emptied, so we filled it. I keep licking my elbow, having seen this on a nature show, the tip of it, whose name is the public sector, neglectorino. My elbow throbs with a fierce liberty. Polis was empty, had no demands, dangling, in the fierce liberty of lake effect and brats, and the fierce liberty of the take, whose name is he, public specter, and alt interest, curio, ground-swelled will of those injured at junction-disjunction, an adorable moment. One you vote in. I release my bitterness, written on the bus, this pantomime of bleeding. Today, Scott Walker was recalled. I'm going to bring on my guest, Chelsea Tadieski, now. She recently had a chapbook published by, come on up, Chelsea, by Plumberry's Press, called Heel Dragger, and she's going to read some poems for us. You can just put on the headphones there so you can hear yourself. And that's mic 1. And okay, so hello, Chelsea.
Hello, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Pretty good.
Are you keeping cool?
Barely.
Barely.
Yeah, my chapstick is all liquid and it's been that way for a few days. So
Really?
kind of slimy and gross, constantly uncomfortable, but
Can you still kind of like with your finger kind
yeah,
of
and then wiping it off on my jeans all day.
yeah. I find that jeans are like the best napkin usually.
Usually, yeah. Especially if they're black, you can get away with it for a few days.
Oh yeah, totally. I need to do that. I need to get darker colored jeans.
You look good.
All right. I'm going to put that on my list. Chelsea, would you like to read some poems for us?
Yes. I was actually thinking first, I brought my friend Edwin here.
Okay.
We have a collaborative piece that I felt we could read first.
Yeah,
Or
cool.
read my own.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi, Edwin. Edwin Perry is here.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. All systems are a go.
I'll go.
Alright. This piece is entitled The Morning.
You might want to lean a little closer, Edwin.
A little closer. Just eat it.
That's good.
I'll eat it.
It might be important to describe the process before we start it.
Okay.
This was a sort of audio erasure piece. We went onto openculture.com. I don't know if you've heard of that archive.
Mhm.
There's various lectures and literature and stuff, good stuff on there. And we just kind of surfed around, listened to some lectures, and allowed it to just kind of sail through and wrote down what stuck. And this is the result of it. Hopefully it's interesting.
Okay.
Give you a sense. Some of the themes to note outset. Primarily of cities, forms ancient, focus central aerial view, situates in the poor. A forum as it looks today, hill transformed by Michelangelo. Concentrated houses, of course, looming. Eastern Empire will take us. Oblong library of coast. Spectacular upper right-hand side. Methodical, masterful enterprise. Geometric, ideal.
All really major themes complement what you're doing. Read the Boy Scouts Imperialism. Map 3 things, why and the Boy Scouts. One of them on great modern memory paths to glory over time. Come to lecture on people like you, about a small place and sort of a dry run. Disillusionment of duplicity, a marvelous read.
Ponderous undertakings, subjective sense, sanctified historical space.
Hatred of a group.
Significantly preceded understanding, lens of honest memoirs, conception, surviving diversity, accumulative complexity.
Certainly.
A problem of hell, going comparatively through perpetrators. Every single page comes across persistence, particularly illustrated.
An illusion of something which is necessary.
Undermine pretext, more or less.
Not exactly. Nature in flux. Penetrate and unlock the secret. Piece of coal to a diamond.
Still
perfection.
magical,
Still magical, but
in charge.
not a political, philosophical
Look
alchemist.
at
Manipulate
foreign
real-world
horror
divine,
around
accelerating,
parables
contained,
more
confident,
profound.
inquiry, in charge, how the heavens go. Sounds
Unlock
like enchanted
the
nature
secret.
wants alchemy. Early
Still
church fathers
magical,
look at
but
foreign
in
worship,
charge.
poor expedition around 1,000 high
Look at
programs and
foreign
crusades and
horror
airtight
around
seal.
parables
Monomaniacal,
more
trickling in
profound.
ideals. Phenomenon,
Unlock
reject
the
ground
secret.
parables.
Still
Fundamentally
magical,
false outer
but
shell.
in charge.
Essence of water substance more profound.
Look at
Himself
foreign
in there.
pour around parables more profound.
Necktie,
Make secondhand
blanket,
tell
piece of
us what
string,
you said.
dish rack
Okay, nice
technology, what
example.
said
Into the
willing,
bulk
dim
of the
light, we
question
all
came.
peddling power
Piece of string
possible for them
example.
long
What
and
said
used
willing,
to
willing,
tell, willing,
repeat,
repeat,
pronounce my
one
name
of
in
true
linguistics,
so much,
Diana.
labels,
Long
all
been used to
manufacturer,
tell,
look
or
at two
least
bicycle
writing
work,
back
amazing
to
rusty
again
chain,
when
pronounce my
binding.
name.
One true
Necktie,
so
what
much,
did you
amazing
have
rusty
to
chain,
say?
necktie,
Fashion,
blanket,
fading
piece of
old
string,
signal,
back inside, and
indication.
technology around
Background
campus,
on
we
walkout,
in
different
fact
things of
conscious
different
into a
people,
house.
nervous looks,
Dim
Bible
lights, we
sales
all
blanket
peddling,
around campus
fading,
might, or at
signal
least like writing
indication.
piece of string
Dish rack
example in
technology,
linguistics,
long-term
Deanna.
butterfly,
Then
even sewn,
book
in
back
green,
to
then
again,
book
then
from
binding,
different
long time
signifying
bird
factor.
butterfly,
Bible
even
sales,
sewn
blanket,
and back
necktie,
inside
what did you
technology
different
made of
things,
second
different
hand. Tell us what
background
you
on
said.
walkout, dish
Okay,
rack
nice
gone to
example. We
live
in
shared,
fact
power
conscious into
possible
a
for
house,
them.
dish
Look
rack
at
gone
two
to live,
bicycle
share,
worked labels,
pretty,
all
different signifying
manufactured. If
factor
you can
into the
take
bulk
standard,
question.
have to say fashion, people, nervous, looks. Everything makes sense so far. Revolve around, struggle with this, easier, independently, bound to. Basic conversation heads off in its own direction, rehearsing feedback. How is this going? Goals for today, try to accomplish the whole. Defining bounds pretty naturally. Beyond the scope, moving into what I mean. Key built around structure, long, narrow rooms. This wide, 3 times deeper. This is good. I can see everyone here.
Course about a trolley car. Miles an hour, brakes don't work. Assume you know that for sure. Feel helpless. Sidetrack. Can turn to do the right thing. Who goes straight ahead? The majority on the sidetrack. Everyone agreed. Choose tragic circumstance, so those who would turn to avoid the crash. Presumably a brave answer. Fat man would spare 5. This is a history.
To be arranged.
Knowledge not required at all.
Dear friend, this is equivalent to la-di-da, the French. Pretty good.
This is a history.
Encourage interest, you won't regret it. Gives you an indication.
Knowledge not
The
required
question
at all.
of what is final catches on to me, tilting in its own way. When you think about it,
This is a history.
it makes perfect sense. Its existence experimentally verified.
Knowledge not
This
required at
is
all.
not a chemistry to be entertained in early May. This kind of music
This is a
slowly
history.
goes over necessary details. In this dancing,
Knowledge
it will
not
try to
required
give
at
you
all.
some sense. Experiment, embarks, experiences, piloting. No one will know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Edwin. Want to keep on trucking?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I may.
Yeah.
Sorry, these things keep sliding off in my head.
Oh.
You have that problem a lot?
There seem to be new pairs of headphones here each week.
I
I can't remember if it's weird. I come here every week, and they seems to be new headphones here. There's a headphone fairy, I think.
That'd be really cute, actually. Okay. Excuse me. I have a few pieces here that were done in a similar fashion. I just had a second party read some text aloud to me and just came up with these 3 segments. The first is from Rappaccini's daughter, Nathaniel Hawthorne. I think it's a short story.
Mm-hmm.
Daughter, ascend within window, little risk beneath solitude, nodding acknowledgement, depths colored rich, steeped and soon, half-poked figures in the pool, perfumes, brilliant shadows struck in sweetness, manner of mortal, gem-like mingling. I am faint with heart, Beatrice, lizard chants at a foot, gazed and distant, a minute stem on her head. Hesitate, fatal blush, glittered appropriately, shrank backward to awake. What is this being? Insect walls, no flowers or antique men, winged and lingered, here deceived, gazing faintly, shivered, dead. Impulse to window, Beatrice, fair ringlet gold, cover scarcely, elbow hand. The second is from the captivity narrative of Mary Rowlandson. Are you familiar?
No,
with
I've
it?
never read that.
You don't know what it is? You at least know what it is?
No.
Oh, okay. It was written in the 17th century, maybe
Uh-huh.
even earlier than that. It's just this woman recounting an Indian raid, so it's kind of really melodramatic and bloody and gory
Oh.
and kind of fun. So sorry ahead of time if it's too dramatic, but I thought it was really funny. Captivity. Numbers, first coming, noises burning, persons taking, sucking, carried set, knock, wounded and bagged, hearken, split fowl in the barn, knock, roof upon fortification, length beset thine eyes, knock, edged house, floated like hail, hours of defense, quenched, took, knock, dreadful time of blood, over our heads, knock, children, pursed forth so thick, rattled, a handful of dogs, knock, fly hereby, throat fell, hollow, stripped, organs and arms, knock, heathen blood to heal, along broken escaping, stabbed, insulted, torn from death.
That was great. That was great.
Thanks. Last one out of the sequence is from the Yellow Wallpaper.
Okay.
Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Have you
No,
No. I read it.
I'm not a well-read person.
Well, that doesn't mean there's so much to read. But yeah, I mean it's about, female oppression. This lady, I think, gets quarantined into this house with yellow wallpaper, and she sort of goes mad throughout it.
Oh my God, that sounds horrible.
It sounds horrible. I feel sorry for her. So yeah, this is the last one out of that sort of audio-visual experiments. Yellow, seldom, secured cheaply. Mansion is hereditary. Too much of stills, declared and cleared, attended, laughed. Faith wars, talked and felt and seen. Physician soul. Reason, phosphates, tonics, and air forbidden well in ideas. What is one to do? Sly meat in opposition, stimulus a condition, alone, the house. Quiet gates, lined arbors, broken spoils ghostly, draft shut, sensitively nervous, control tired, stirred special, solely perfect, rings in the walls. Room worse, sprawled sin, dull to provoke, unclean, slow turned and lurid, sickly tinted. Those are those three. Do I
Cool.
have time?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah, we have lots of time.
Okay, cool.
It's 10:46, so we have ostensibly till like 11 or a few minutes before 11. It's not a big deal.
Okay. This next one I'm going to read is entitled Swarms. It's one of the very few prose poems that I've ever written.
Hmm.
And it's not even that cozy, I've come to find. Swarms. My body is carped with blushing. You tell me what this might mean. Mind the hidden, the mind's odd periphery. Its curve, sailing sideways. There is no real word yet, just a spirit beast thrown in the wrong direction, but a man put into a house and leaned his hand against the wall and the light. The light, the back, that pleases. This is an inner landscape, unpaved and inexhaustibly old, but loosened with compromise. Things we never do. They go dark like a window. A few more. This next one needs some revisiting with the title and the poem in general. I'm just going to read it for the sake of doing it.
Okay.
It's entitled Monocle. There are things more astonishing than the rhythms of presence, is given to me as a present once as felt knowledge in the eye of the afternoon, all stationary objects seem to steam. The solid given upward, the visual image ascending the hem of cirrus. What is it a memory about? A word not to loosen, driven traverse, and focus as if linked on. These those places that lead. Maybe I won't have enough time until 11. Maybe I'm just gonna read some Friend Hill Bigger. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of the NBA Finals before coming here, and looks like the Miami Heat are gonna win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bucks aren't in it, I assume.
No, they're like perennially bad. Yeah.
I don't follow basketball at all, but I think that I'm pretty sure that's the only team I'm half aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder,
Okay.
and the Miami Heat got LeBron James. You've heard of LeBron James probably.
I've heard of LeBron James.
Yeah, he had this. He used to play with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he had this big. When he signed with the Miami Heat, he had an hour-long television special to publicize his announcement that he was going to sign with the Miami Heat, called "The Decision." And so,
I think I remember my
yeah.
parents watching this one night.
yeah, it made him like a maligned figure in basketball.
Did he make the right decision?
He's on a pretty damn good team, so I guess. Yeah.
LeBron, I'm proud.
Would you want to talk to us a little bit about just how Heel Dragger came together?
Oh, sure. I guess I just started writing poetry semi-seriously about a year ago,
Okay.
and my process is actually sort of really slow, and I don't know, I think I just make it harder on myself and sort of make it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just found this sort of universal tendency to sort of hold oneself back, and just, I don't know if people are just afraid of doing things or succeeding or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are a little more comfortable and disappointed.
Hence the title Heel Dragger.
Yeah. And so really sparse, which I think serves to the title and the overall theme.
Mm-hmm.
None of them really have any titles. It's sort of just this elongated poem.
And there's an artist.
Yes, Matthew Gasparic actually did all of the collages in here, and they are absolutely beautiful. He just graduated from UWM, the art program there. He's
Cool.
a very talented fella, and you should check out his work too.
Yeah, will do.
So again, these all don't really have any titles, and they're not separated off into their own poems, so I'm just going to read a few little bits from it. My aristocratic coldness feigns the chirping of brittle violets, and pigeons and coos. His door leads to another door, and down a hallway. I imagine death as a storm, loosely open. Slowly, more quietly.
I love that one, by the way. Just wanted to say that.
And I guess this will just be the last one. Voice is a round approach toward the eyes stuck on small. Funny high, watchy. What I wanted to show you already disappeared. Brown bed in its hose. I want to be clean and safe. I want to set.
Can I ask you about one more thing?
Sure.
Your writing is sort of process oriented, and I was just wondering how, for a person who came to poetry within the last year, you said, how did you arrive at that way of writing?
I suppose what sort of got me interested in writing, I signed up for a poetry workshop my junior year with Susan.
Hmm.
I always say her name wrong. Fire?
Susan Fear. I just say Susan Fear.
Okay. And the workshop environment is actually sort of really inspiring. If you think of just sitting down at a table with a blank sheet of paper and just writing a poem, it seems like this really daunting and sort of impossible task. But when you're around a whole bunch of writers who are sort of in the same position as you, and you hand each other ideas and prompts and things, it's far easier to get into
Yeah.
these different processes. And then I started collaborating with other people, and usually a process is involved with that as you have a sort of idea of where the performance is going to go. So yeah, that's sort of what I'm really interested in doing right now, is sort of coming across these processes which have the potential to come up with some really awesome things, I think, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. They turn up awesome and surprising results, and it sidesteps the kind of beating your head against a wall-ness of having to look at poetry as only self-expression, right? Because it's so much more. I mean, words are everywhere, you know. Well, thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming by.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I had fun. It's definitely the first time
Did you have fun?
I did. At
Cool.
first it was sort of weird, but it's just a different environment to read in, but it's definitely really awesome.
This is, if I ever saw myself doing a radio show, I didn't see myself doing it in a display window on a platform in a video store.
I meant to ask you that. Did you ever encounter anybody who tried getting your attention when you're on here?
People give me
Are they kind of
thumbs up sometimes, which I don't know if it's a sarcastic thumbs up or. One guy came up to me and just started talking to me, and it was kind of a show that was already like a train wreck. Like the audio stopped working twice already, and he just came up to me and started talking to me like, "Hey, you're reading poetry, huh? What are you reading?" And like, It's like I'm doing a show, man, but I was just like, screw it, and I just I just had a conversation with him, and so that was the end of that episode. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for us on Hauser. And thanks again for coming, Chelsea Tadyeski. Watch out for her work. All right. See you next week, guys.